Shalom Lach, and welcome to the world that was. Today we'll be making a lentil and parsnip soup. Lentils and root vegetables, like carrots and parsnips, are some of the oldest ingredients in the kitchens of the past, and would have formed a staple for the diets of the people in the Levant as well. This is a recipe that is not explicitly recorded, but is based on a Hellenistic period account of food people ate in the region, such as a broth of legumes and tubers. In any case, let's take a look at the world that was. To begin with, pour some olive oil into a pot. Olives would have been cultivated along the Mediterranean coast of the Levant in antiquity, thanks to the climate, but not much further inland, also due to the climate. Put your oiled up pot onto a medium-high heat until the oil starts to shimmer. While your oil is heating up, go slice up an onion into thin rings, or into small chunks. Toss this into the hot olive oil for about 5 minutes, until the rings start to turn translucent. At this point, go crush a clove of garlic into the pot as well, and stir it together with the softened onion. Leave this to cook for about 5 more minutes over a medium-high heat, stirring occasionally so that nothing sticks and burns onto your pot. While your onions and garlic are cooking, go peel your carrots and parsnips before cutting them down the centre, as best as you can, and then dicing them into small half-moons. Of course, you could just cut these into rings if it's faster. Just make sure they're all the same size, so they cook at the same rate. Carrots in antiquity would likely have been more purple than today's strains, and parsnips appear to have also been used in the kitchens of the past, although to a lesser degree. Most of our records of these come from the Greeks and Romans, who seem to have lumped both of these together, so it's hard to distinguish which root vegetable they meant. But I'm using half and half here, so it makes for a delicious soup today. When your vegetables have been chopped, go toss these into the pot as well. Mix everything together so it's all combined. Next, you'll want to rinse about a cup's worth of lentils under some clean water until it runs clear. This is just to make sure that there's no dust or pebbles left in the mix. When they're clean, toss this into the pot, along with about 3 cups or 750 milliliters of water, or, like I'm doing here, a stock. As usual, I'm using a chicken stock, but you could just as easily use vegetable stock if you want to keep this an entirely vegetarian dish. At this point, you can add some ground cumin or coriander to improve the flavour of your finished dish. These would have been 2 spices that were indigenous to the Near East and most likely used fairly frequently in their cuisine, even if it's not recorded. Also, mince about a half cup's worth of parsley, or cilantro if it doesn't taste like soap to you. Toss this into your pot and give it a stir. Add a couple of sprigs of fresh thyme to your soup at this point as well. You could of course just strip the leaves off of it and put them in instead, but I like to leave them on the woody stalk so it's easier to fish them out whenever it's done. Bring this all to a rolling boil over a high heat. Whenever it hits a boil, turn the heat down to low and let it simmer away uncovered for about an hour. Keep stirring your soup every about 20 or 30 minutes. The dish will be ready whenever it looks like this. You can test this to see if it's done by taking a chunk of carrot or parsnip and stabbing it with a knife. It should be done if the carrots have next to no resistance when they're being stabbed. It'll also look lovely in yellow, or a very pale orange depending on your lentils. Serve this up as is, like I'm doing here, or if you want a more smoother soup, you could pour this into a blender or just use a stick blender. Garnish this with a sprig of parsley and dig in. The finished dish is delicious and herbal. The lentils and root vegetables are very filling. The slight earthiness of the parsnips is really offset by the sweetness of the carrots. The ground coriander adds a very mild zestiness to the soup, depending on how much you use, and really improves the final flavour. As this is a very filling yet fairly simple dish, only requiring a few ingredients, it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility for the populations of the Levant to have eaten something similar to this in antiquity. I hope you enjoyed this look at the world that was. If you like what I do, please consider leaving a like on this video and subscribing to my channel for some more ancient recipes.